Time to get started again with another presentation for bitcoinplus. Thank you for hosting this wonderful event. Let's get a hand for the organizers of bitcoinplus. Woo! Thank you all for attending. We're going to learn today how to add NWC to Ecash and integrate that into all of your different applications, your web apps, your mints, whatever it is you're running in the Bitcoin space. You can benefit from adding Ecash and NWC to your application. I'm going to demonstrate today some of the libraries that I've created for easing the process of integrating these things. And I'm also going to go over why this is a good pairing, why I like NWC, and how it improves the Ecash experience. So make sure you have your keyboards and your laptops ready, because we are going to be doing some live coding today and learning how to integrate this stuff. So hands on keyboards. It'll be happening. But the first 10 minutes of this presentation aren't that. So yeah, that. So how to add NWC to Ecash? We'll begin by talking about why we would want to do that. Why would we want to use Nostr Wallet Connect in our projects? And for me, there's a couple of reasons. A main one is that I really like building third-party applications. I like building apps where I provide some kind of service, like maybe a web shop or a tipping service. And very often, I want my one user, let's call her Alice. She wants to pay Bob some money. Alice is paying Bob, and I would like to show her a nice little green check mark like it shows up here. And on Bitcoin, you can do that. You can have Bob give an address. You store that address in your service. Alice comes along and she pulls it up, and you can start listening for a transaction in the mempool or on the blockchain, and wait to see that she sent some money. And you can say, oh, I see it in the mempool. Your money's pending. And then when it confirms, you can be like, oh, success. You finally paid Bob. And that's great. However, that doesn't exactly work if you're doing it on the Lightning Network, because on Lightning, we don't have blocks. On the Lightning Network doesn't have blocks. It doesn't have a block explorer. If Alice pays Bob, there's nowhere to really check to see if that happened, because just the way Lightning's designed, it's designed to be more private. These payments aren't recorded anywhere but on the sender's device and on the recipient's device. So if you want to do green check marks like this as a third-party service, you can't get that information about whether it succeeded unless you are talking to the sender or the recipient through their wallet. And so Nostr kind of lets us do that, Nostr Wallet Connect. Now some might say, why not use Lightning addresses for this? Because it's pretty common now for those to have Zap receipts. Zaps are a common thing on the Lightning Network, and that's great. Like if I send someone money to their Lightning address and I request a Zap receipt and their wallet supports that, it can send me one back, and then I can show a green check mark to my user because I am listening on Nostr for that information. But of course, not all Lightning addresses support Zap receipts. It also requires the recipient's wallet to be running a web server or communicating with a web server somehow. And if you're doing that on ClearNet, you need to set that up, and it's kind of a hassle for users. Perhaps this is why a lot of people use custodians on Nostr, is for Zaps. And if you're doing Tor, well, it's slow and it's unreliable, and you might not get the message. So NWC makes this more reliable because it can talk to either wallet. It can talk to either the sender's wallet and get the payment information from them, or the recipient and say, okay, now I know whichever one did it. So it makes it more likely to get a response. It's more reliable and faster than Tor, and the user doesn't have to run a web server to use NWC. They have to run something, but it doesn't have to be a web server. So that's my recommendation. That's one of the reasons why I have sought for an opportunity to add NWC to Ecash, was so that I could get all these features. Another thing that I like about Nostr Wallet Connect is it brings back an experience I love about Bitcoin, but that is kind of hard to do on Lightning. So here's an example of a standard Bitcoin wallet. It's got your private keys, and so there's my 12 words are on here. If I decide I want, someone comes out with a new wallet, it's got some new features, I don't know what they might be, maybe I want to try out this wallet. On Bitcoin, it's easy for me to take my private keys, import them into the new wallet, and suddenly I have two wallets with the same state. They both know my private keys, they both can look my addresses up on the blockchain, see if they've received any money, show me the same balance. If I hit send on one, it'll also show up as sent on the other. It's great. hard to do that on the Lightning Network. And the reason why it's hard to do is because in Lightning, we don't have global state. The status of your wallet and your balance and all that is stored locally. And so if I take that information on this wallet and import it to another one, it might start off showing the same thing, but as soon as I make a payment on this one doesn't know about it, and that can be dangerous. It might even cause a force closure, or it might even cause me to lose money. So it's really hard on the Lightning Network to do this thing where you have two wallets that have the same state. But with Nostr Wallet Connect, you can. Because if you have a Nostr Wallet Connect string on one device, you can import that to another one, and safely it makes it so you can have the same state across multiple different wallets. So I really like this feature. The reason why that works is because there's actually a backend that's managing the state, and NWC is just basically exposing a remote control to press the send and receive buttons. And so that makes it safe to have the same state on multiple wallets without the risk of force closures and stuff. Both wallets are just talking to the same backend and saying what's the current state. So yeah, those are the reasons why I decided to integrate Nostr Wallet Connect into some projects, and this is the code that we're going to be using to do this. So, is everybody ready? Have your laptops out and you're ready to start coding? Like most super testnet workshops, we'll be doing this coding directly in the browser. The reason I do that is because of the problem down here. I actually did write this project for Node.js as well, so if anyone wants to try that, you can. But in my experience, I get a lot of errors in my workshops when people try to do stuff with Node.js. So like, I have a different version than you, or that's basically why. Maybe they use a different package manager than I. They're like, well, I'm a yarn-only person. So I usually try to do stuff in the browser because that's more standardized. And these are the dependencies. Huh? You're only using Internet Explorer 6? Believe it or not, I think it'll work. I think it'll work even in Internet Explorer 6. Okay, so let's try this. I'm going to open up a new folder, and I'm going to call it, what should we call it? Anyone want to come up with a name for this project where we're adding NWC to Ecash? We're going to call it NWC Cache. New folder. You can call it whatever you want. NW Cache. NWC, yeah, it's close enough. All right, so that's the name of our folder, and inside of here, I'm going to create an HTML file. I'm going to call it index.html. And so you can open this up in any kind of text editor you have. I'm going to use Sublime Text Editor because I like that one. But you don't have to use this. You can use anything that lets you edit text, except ones that apply styles. I recommend not using WordPerfect or Microsoft Word or stuff like that. Use Notepad, Visual Studio, Sublime. Those are better things for editing text if you're going to be using it for coding. Okay. So now we need to make a very basic HTML file. It doesn't need much. We're just going to import those dependencies. So I'm just going to do a couple of HTML tags, and we'll give it a head, and we'll give it a body. Body. Yeah. And that's our HTML file. That's what we need right now. So I'm going to save this, and I've got an index.html file. If I open it up in my browser, NWC Cache is the other one. Here we go. Open up that, and you shouldn't see any errors yet. But if you made a typo, you might. So make sure that you've just got 6 lines of text here. HTML head tags, body tags. Close the HTML file. Everyone with me? Cool. So now let's go back to here, and we're going to import these dependencies so that we can do all the stuff that I showed you in the first part of the slideshow. Copy all those guys, and we'll put those in the head. So we've got some dependencies. Now, what do these dependencies do? Well, each one does a different thing that's necessary for Bankify. Bankify is the file right here that encodes the software I wrote for doing this stuff. And Bankify's dependencies include Bolt 11, this is for decoding Lightning invoices and figuring out who it is you're paying and what the payment hash is and stuff like that. BlindSig.js, this is a library I wrote for, well, actually, I didn't write it. Gandalf BTC wrote it, and then I converted it to work in the browser. It's for working with cashew mints. They use a blind signature scheme invented by Ruben Somson, and this library has all the methods you need for interacting with and validating the stuff that's involved with Ecash. The next one is SuperNostr, which is a library I wrote for working with Nostr. We need to work with Nostr in order to do Nostr Wallet Connect, talking to relays, sending notes, stuff like that. SuperNostr's got you covered. Bankify is the star of the show today. This connects Nostr Wallet Connect to Ecash mints, and it basically mimics it makes it so that it intercepts an NWC command like pay invoice or make invoice, and it converts it to the format that mints want, so that I can then get an invoice from the mint or tell the mint to pay an invoice for me. So that's what that library does. Browserify Cypher is a library for interacting with direct messages on Nostr, and in Nostr Wallet Connect, we use direct messages to talk to one another, for me to talk to the wallet, so that no one can read our messages. Everything's encrypted. And then NobleSec P256K1 is what we use for private keys and public keys. We use those, well, I use it because it has a lot of built-in functions, like it has a hashing function, and it has stuff for generating keys and public keys and private keys. So those are the dependencies we're going to need. And if we refresh our page now, let me make sure I saved it, and check my console, hopefully, yeah, I don't see any errors. It's mad that I haven't specified a document type, but that's just a warning, not an error. So we're still good. Nothing's the matter. The next thing I'm going to do is, and this is where we're really getting into the meat of the presentation here, we are going to add a mint that we're going to use for creating a little Ecash wallet and talking to it with NWC. So to do this, you can select any mint from bitcoinmints.com. Well, not any mint. You can only pick the ones that are cashew mints. I haven't built in support for Fedimint yet. You have a question? Oh, right. I forgot to give you the slide. Thank you for asking. So let me share this file. Make it so anyone with a link can see it. Copy that. And I will go to tinyurl.com. And I will give you a short URL. Oh, it doesn't want me doing tinyurl. Did I misspell it? tinyurl.com. Enter. Verify that I'm human. It believed me. Wow. Enter the long link, and we will call this cashew or NW Cache. Thank you for that awesome name. That is great. Verify that, and so you all should be able to. Oh, it's not. NW Cache is not available. We'll do. That one's also not available. Holy cow. Yeah, that one seems, is it happy with that one? Okay, great. All right, so you can all go to this one, and I will put that in here. So if y'all can see that, you should be able to visit tinyurl.com/this, and then you can pull up the presentation I made and get the slides and everything you need. We good? Okay. Sorry, I forgot to make that. I was working on this presentation this morning, so hopefully it'll all go better than the first 5 minutes went. All right. Does anyone still need that link? Are we good? Good. So you can pull up any mint from here that is a cashew mint, and how you can tell is on this page. Some of them support nuts, and some of them support modules. The ones that support nuts are the cashew mints. Those are the ones that work with this app. The other ones are Fedimints, and they don't work. You can also tell because Fedimint's invitation link starts with Fed1, whereas Cashew's invitation links just have a URL on them. So you can pick any one of those. In my demo here, I'm using CoinOS, and so we can do that. I'm going to create a couple of script tags down here and just say, the mint we're going to use is CoinOS. CoinOS is a custodial web service that supports the Lightning Network, and they also run a cashew mint, so we're going to use them. The next thing we need is to establish the permissions that our NWC string is going to have. When you're interacting with Nostr Wallet Connect, what you're doing is you're saying, service A, like maybe it's a Nostr client, has permission to do something with my, with my Bitcoins. And what is it allowed to do? Well, these permissions establish what it's allowed to do. So in this case, I'm letting it do the following 6 things. I'm letting it get information about my wallet, like how much is in there, and actually, mostly this is used to get this list of permissions for it to say what it's allowed to do. Get balance will tell it how much is in there. Make invoice will do what it says. It'll create an invoice of whatever amount they want to pay me. Pay invoice will let whoever has this Nostr string send money on my behalf. Lookup invoice will let them check the status, and list transactions will give them a list of various invoices that have been received or paid. So those are the permissions, and I'm going to give it full permissions in this case, but of course you can just X out of a line or comment it out if you're like... actually, I want to mention, I see a lot of services like Albi, whose permission list, they give you like a checkbox, and you can select whatever permissions you want. I think later today we're probably going to make one of those, but I think what I'll do is, I've only ever seen people do comment out this one or uncheck this one. Sometimes people are like, you're allowed to send me money, but you're not allowed to spend my money. So I've seen people comment out this one or uncheck that one. I've never seen anyone comment out anything else. So maybe when we make a permissions manager later in this presentation, we'll just have that. We'll just have 2 toggles. Do you want read only, which will be this, or do you want full permissions, and that'll be this version? But for now, it'll have all of them. And you can see the full permissions list here. This is nwc.dev. It's a developer website for working with Nostr Wallet Connect. Note that these 2, pay key send and multi-pay invoice, aren't supported by Bankify. So if anyone wants to add support for those, that'd be great. You can contribute to the library as well, but I don't support those yet. So if you add those permissions, it won't work anyway. It'll just throw an error. Okay, so that's that. And the next thing is to pick a relay. We need to pick a Nostr relay to use. I'm going to use nostru.com because it's been running for a long time and it's reliable. Here is a cool website that lists as many relays as you've probably ever seen in your life. There are so many Nostr relays now. It's incredible. Look at how big the Nostr network has become. Let's give a round of applause to the Nostr network. And to all of you developers who've helped us make this a reality. This is really cool. May there someday be this many mints as well. Okay, so I picked that relay, so I'm going to pop it into my document here. That is the relay we're going to use. And that's it. In order to make a Nostr Wallet Connect string with Bankify, you just need to know where's your money going to be, what are people allowed to do if they have this string, and what relay do they talk to you at. And that's all we need to start using Bankify. So let's do it. I'm going to make an asynchronous function here. And this asynchronous function will get an NWC string from Bankify by passing in the mint, the permissions, and the relay we're going to use. And then it'll log that string so that we can use it in our applications. Let me save that and just refresh the little page here. And check it out. It says, if I increase the size here, we have a connection, and here is our Nostr Wallet Connect string. Now, we can begin integrating this with applications and do stuff with it. Is everyone on this page? Do you all see this? Does anyone have any errors? Raise your hand. Still loading? Yours connected? What? Something's not available, you said? I'm going to go see. Oh, that's it. Yeah, it did it. It succeeded. Possibly because there's like 50 people doing this all at once, it might be overloading the relay. So consider picking a different relay if it's being slow for you. But so far, everyone seems to be here. So now we can test this and make sure it's doing what it's supposed to. I also made a testing tool called NWC Tester. So if we open up that, we can test out all the different functions that Bankify supports, and you can also use this to test other NWC strings if you make them using other applications. So if I pop this into the first little box here and hit submit, it'll test if the relay works, it'll make sure that all the parameters in the string are formatted correctly, and then it'll give me a green check mark saying, you did good, bro. Let's check what permissions this NWC string has. It'll send a request to my wallet, which is just running in that browser tab right there. And it says, here's the permissions it has. It can get info, get balance, make invoice, pay invoice, look up invoice, list transactions. If I go back to this, this document here and get rid of pay invoice, yeah? So I got rid of one of the permissions. And now if I refresh this page, refresh, got a new Nostr Wallet Connect string, and I paste that one into the tester. Where'd the tester go? This one should show that I don't have permission. So I can get info, get balance, make invoice, look up invoice, list transactions, but not pay invoices. So cool, this thing is working. We can modify our permissions and generate new strings. And I think it's really cool because that was really easy to do. Let's make an invoice and see what that looks like. So I'm going to paste it into here. Let's get an invoice amount. How about 125 sats? We can give it a description. NWC Ecash workshop. Hit submit. It's getting an invoice for 125 sats. There it is. There's a nice little invoice. I accidentally hit it twice, so it gave us 2. But there you go. That's nice. We have a little invoice there, and we can tell it has not yet been paid. Huh? You mean when I did this? Well, I wasn't copying it, but thank you. I will. Now I got it. What did you say? Oh, great. He put all of his life savings in my little application. Keep in mind, as soon as you refresh the page, it'll all be gone. I recommend that if you're making a real service, you don't just have, what do we got here, 28 lines of code? Have some method of saving your user's data or whatever, save it on the client side or something. Yeah. Okay, so next, what do we want to do in here? So we've tested our string. It does seem to be working. Oh, we haven't paid anything yet. Let's try and pay it. I'm gonna make one that has full permissions to send and receive the money, and then we'll try that. So let me refresh the page. Oh, and I want to show you. So this is the page that the wallet is running in. This page is what has those 28 lines of code. If I refresh this page, I have a whole new string now. And so if I retest this using this one, it'll now throw an error. So if I try to create another 125 sat invoice, that page doesn't have that string anymore. It's not listening for a connection. So this is just going to time out and say, it didn't give me a response. So we really are just running a Lightning wallet in this browser with Ecash as the backend. Okay, so, but the new wallet right here, let's create an invoice for 125 sats, put in the new string, submit. Okay, so there's our invoice. Now I will copy this, and I will pay it using Stacker News. My Stacker News account has a little bit of money in it, so I will pay it using that. Withdraw to this invoice. And so there we go. We have 125 sats in there now. And so if I take this Nostr Wallet Connect string and check my balance, I should see, where's get balance? It should tell me that I have 125 sats in there. And what does it say? 125,000 millisats. In Nostr Wallet Connect, we measure things in millisats, which is stupid, but that's what we do. In fact, I even corrected it. I was like, 125 satoshis, because I hate millisats. Yeah, you could, but 125.000 satoshis? How many bits? I think bits are one, so that would be 1.25 bits, right? I think that's how the conversion. Okay. But are you using a different relay? Oh.
I received it, and now I'm trying to send some of it back to my phone, and now
Do you have the pay permission in? Do you have pay invoice as one of the permissions?
I copy pasted what you gave me, yeah.
And you didn't comment out anything?
No, it's got pay invoice. But when I submitted it, so it says pay invoice, and then you submit it, it says status request to pay was sent. Consider using check invoice to view its status.
Uh-huh.
The check invoice says internal invoice not found.
Perhaps okay, so I'm going to repeat the question for those who didn't hear. So he says he tried to pay an invoice, and it said you should. I've sent the request to pay the invoice. Go check if it's been paid. And when he went to check if it's been paid, the wallet told him invoice not found. What I suspect happened, you probably put 125 sats on and then tried to take 125 sats off, and you.
I put 1,000 sets on and pulled 500 sets out.
Okay, so he didn't do what I thought he did. He put 1,000 sats on, tried to take 500 sats off. I don't know. We might have had our first rug pull during a demo just now. But I'm going to try it too. I'll see if I have the same thing happen to me. So I'm going to pay. I did pay this invoice. Now I'm going to try to send it back. So you have to leave some in there. So I'm only going to do. Oh, it worked now. Great.
Maybe it just didn't get relayed or something?
Yeah, always make sure when you're using Nostr, great, he's showing me as well. It worked after all. When you're using Nostr, relays try to get your messages to and from each other on a best effort basis. And sometimes that best effort is very minimal, especially if you have poor network connectivity and you have 60 people in the same room on an unreliable Wi-Fi. So I recommend if you're building an application that uses Nostr, and this is especially true if you're sending money over Nostr, make sure that when you're sending these requests, you get a confirmation back from the relay that they have received your note. I will show you how to do that when we get to that portion of the presentation. But for now, I'm going to create an invoice for 123 sats. And you have to leave something in there because there are fees on the Lightning Network for to pay invoices. And typically, mints will say, if you're going to give us 100 sats, we'll only let you pay out up to 98 of those. They'll reserve 2% for a fee. And many relays won't give you the change as well. So if it costs less than whatever you give them to pay fees, they'll just keep it. It's their revenue model. So yeah, they'll have like a minimum. They'll say you have to leave at least 2% for us, and that's kind of their revenue stream. Yeah, so that's why. Does that make sense? The question was, why do I have to leave some in the thing? All right, so I'm going to generate an invoice for 123. Since I have 125 in there, that's about 1 to 2%. We'll see what we get. Copy this. Go to the one that's pay invoice. So let me copy the invoice that I want to pay. Put in my NWC string. Hit pay. And for this one, most things that use Nostr Wallet Connect, when you send off a request using the pay invoice command, it's an awaitable command. You can await that command, and it will give you back a pre-image if it's been paid. But I don't like doing that because sometimes Lightning payments get stuck, especially if you're using services that do submarine swaps or robosats or various other things. They can get stuck for hours or days. So I don't like to use an await function for that when it could be a really long time. So for mine, I just said, I just sent a request to pay it, and I don't give you a status back. But what you can do is you can go to check invoice, and this check invoice works for either outgoing or incoming payments. So you can just copy your invoice here and submit it, and it will check whether it's been paid or not. So in this case, it is paid. So you can see right there. And you can also check down here, like here's the pre-image for that payment, and here's the settled at value. So I always check those things to see if a invoice has been paid. So yeah, that worked. And if we check this thing now, 123 sats has been deposited. And if we check our balance, go back to the get balance command, we'll see if we have anything left over in here. We have 0. So I guessed right, and it took 2 sats to pay that invoice. Cool. So that's Nostr Wallet Connect, and it's been connected to an Ecash mint, and I think that was completely easy. Like, can I get some appreciation for this? Thank you. It was yeah, Yeah. So and also thank you to Callie and the teams who've been making Ecash so easy to work with that stuff like this is possible. Okay, so now that we have something that supports NWC, it might be a good time to learn how to use the Nostr Wallet Connect API in further detail. So I have made another library called NWC.js, which you can use to hook this up to buttons, and we can make some kind of application that interacts with this stuff. The little tester that I was just using is just a front end for this, and it gives buttons for all the commands that this thing supports. So let me import this into my wallet, and I will show you what that is like. I'm going to get the NWC dependencies from right here. So what I did to find this, I went to the little web page where you can demo NWC.js, and then I did view source, because once again, it's just one of my blank pages with no content on it. But I did view source, and that showed me that all it does is import the dependencies and the library itself. So I'm going to copy those over to this app and eliminate the ones that are duplicates, like NobleSec P256 is in both, so we don't need that one. Browserify Cypher is in both, so we don't need that one. The NWC library also encodes and decodes things in Betch32, so it has an additional dependency for using Betch32. That is for when you're using LNURL. This program also supports LNURL, and that uses Betch32. So now I have a second library in here, and if I refresh my app, where did it go? This one. So I'm going to refresh this app. We have a new wallet connection string, and now we have NWC.js, so we can communicate. We've got all sorts of functions in here, but let's just demo some of the ones that are in this NWC.js library. So we can do like get info, or we can create an NWC info object. For that, all we got to do is copy paste our NWC string, which is this one, into this, and replace the dummy one with a real one. So we paste that and hit enter, and that will give us an NWC info object that tells us things about our connection. Like this is the private key of our application. This is what we need to communicate with the backend, which is the wallet, which is just running in another browser, or it's running in this browser tab. So we're actually going to be communicating with our own wallet in the same browser tab, but using a relay as a middleman. Yeah, I just copied. Yeah, I just copied the first command from NWC.js, which is the var NWC info equals NWC.js.process NWC string. So the method is process NWC string, and that should tell you information about your connection. You can get that from the slideshow. If you just click this link on slide number 13, it'll have all the commands I'm using here. Another one we can do, like we can get info for this. I also have for this library, I have something called a delay tolerance. So if I set a delay tolerance of just like 1 second, then it'll only wait 1 second before telling me it's giving up and it doesn't want to wait anymore. So probably we'll just say, oh, yeah, it says it timed out. Didn't wait long enough. But you can set it for a little higher. Nostr's faster than Tor, but it's still not that fast. So I'm going to give it 6 seconds of wait time. And here we go. We got a response. And we can see information about the wallet, or information about, here's the current block height. Here are the methods it supports. Good information right there. So this is the NWC.js library, and it has support for things like creating invoices, checking invoice status, checking your balance, all the things you saw on the other page. But now, instead of using buttons for it, you can use code to command these things. So next thing on our slide is, let's get to work. You can make anything you want with Nostr Wallet Connect and Ecash, but I thought of a couple things we could make. We could make a permissions manager, which would be similar to the one on Alby, where you check the permissions you want. We could make something that does what I showed at the beginning, where you're paying someone and you show payment status. And the other thing I wanted, there's a new feature of NWC called NWC notifications. And my library doesn't support that yet, so I thought maybe it would be cool to add that to the library and and do something cool. What do you guys think I should do? Should I do the permissions thing? Should I do payment status? Or should I add to the library? Eh? He says add to the library. Do we have any votes for anything else? What do you say? He says number 3. Okay. People want me to add to the library. Cool. So let's do that. Okay. So I'm going to show you how I would how I will do that. I will start by seeing what's left in the slideshow. I thought you guys might say that, so I began ahead of time and wrote some code for myself in case you guys said you wanted me to do number 3. I told you I was working on this morning. I was like, they're gonna say they want me to add to the library. Cool. So this is what we're gonna use that's part of what we're gonna use. But first I need to look up the what's it called? The specification. So I'm going to go to github.com/Nostr protocol, and I think it's going to be the NIPS repository, and it'll be under issues because it hasn't been merged yet. So notifications. Let's see. Where is the NIP47 notifications? Let me specify NIP47 notifications. Oh, they're not there. Maybe they're in a different repo. What's the NWC? NWC NIP47 notifications. Okay. It's under the Nostr Wallet Connect stuff instead of the. It's not. I figured it would be under the NIPS because NIP47 is one of the Nostr protocol specifications, but they don't put it there. It's an Alby specific feature. They wanted it, and so they have a specification in their library. And also, is this? Oh, great! It's also on NWC. Oh, this is GetAlby. It's also on getalby.com. So I'll probably follow this thing to work with. it. I don't like that. It says it's a post request. I don't want to do a post request. I want to do Nostr commands. It's a pull request in the NIPS repo. Oh, it's a pull request instead of an issue. Okay. Thank you. It's nice to do these things with other developers in the audience who can then notify me of where I should go. So you said 1164. Oh, that's not how you do it. 1164. NIP47 notifications. Why don't I pop this into the slideshow in case anyone else wants to take a look? So I will just put it on this page. There you go. That is the link you need if you want to follow along with working out NIP47 notifications. Did you know this because you opened the pull request, Damien? No. Okay. You just looked it up. Thank you. All right, so what does it say? This allows the wallet service to asynchronously send notifications to connected clients as an alternative to polling. Why is that important? Well, what you might have noticed when I was doing the demo with the NWC tester app, which was this one? Yeah. So whenever I do this, it's kind of like call and response. I hit submit, I wait a few seconds, and pretty soon the wallet responds to me. Well, the people at Alby who proposed notifications were like, this is dumb. And the reason it's dumb is because we're using WebSockets. Nostr's a WebSocket system. WebSockets are specifically designed so you don't have to do call and response. You open up one connection, and then it can send you information as it comes in. So they made a specification for saying, let's use WebSockets like WebSockets, and whenever a payment comes in, your wallet will tell your service, you got some money, instead of making you poll. So that's what the service is for, and it's good to know that when you're preparing to implement it. Example use cases: real-time balance, invoice status, transaction list updates. Cool. There are currently 2 types defined: payment received and payment sent. Excellent. So I think we'll have to go to the commit and look up what exactly the changes to the code base are, or to the description. So let's see. Allow clients to do stuff. Kind of want to see the rich difference. Yeah, display it this way. Okay, so we need to create a new event kind, which is 23196, And so I'm going to go to NWC tester, and I'm going to clone that repository. And then we can begin modifying the code and add a new kind for 219, whatever it was. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go into my terminal. And let's just see if I already have one called NWC tester. Good, I do not. So I can do git clone, paste this into here, go into NWC tester, and here is my code base. So I'm going to open up the index.html file, which is where I have all the code for NWC tester. And the first thing I'm going to do is make a new little box. So I will do one of these guys, and it'll say, this one will be notifications div. And I'll call it NIP47 notifications. Enter our NWC string, we'll need to do that. And then I guess it'll be get notice notifications. So we'll submit that. We'll have a status box, it'll be called notifications status. And it'll say not active yet. So if I refresh that, or if I open up this page, then, not that one, this one, NWC tester. Open up this, we have a new box down here for NIP47 notifications. And if I paste in, well, if I pasted something in here and hit submit, it wouldn't do anything because I haven't programmed it to do anything. But we've got started. We have something here. So now let's go and copy the function for, it's probably going to be most similar to get make invoice. So where's make invoice? This one. I will copy this one and then modify it to work for the get notifications one. First thing I'm going to have it do is if I click the button for get notifications. Was that what I called it? Yeah. If I click that button, I'm just going to have it console log and say, you know, I am able to, yay, to indicate that I have not screwed up getting the button and having it do something. So if I click this button now, it should just say yay. All right, the next thing I want to do is have it get the string. So NWC string will be notifications div.nwc string, and I will have it log the string so that I know it has it and it's correct. So I'll refresh that. Let me go get the string from my wallet. If I scroll up, it should be in here. Paste it in, hit submit, and there is my string. So so far so good. We have this. We're able to use this to communicate with the wallet. That should be our next step. So it will need to convert it into an object using process string. And then the rest of this stuff is stuff I don't need because it's all for getting stuff from the for getting stuff about the an invoice, and I'm not creating an invoice. Okay, so what do we want to do instead? What do I want to do with this? I want to subscribe to notifications from this from this wallet, and so that wallet will need to be sending notifications that are kind 21936 events, I think. What did it say? Not there. Yeah, this one, 23196. Let me move this over. So the wallet is going to need to send out this type of event, and our app is going to need to listen for that kind of event. So I need to set up a listener. So to set up a listener, I can use the code that I included right here. And so I will set what relay I want to use, and the relay I want to use is whatever one is in the NWC string. So I will say var relay equals NWC info. I think it's going to be .relay. Let's just check if that works. I will console log NWC info, and I will also console log relay. And if one of those is erroneous, we know I did something wrong. So I hit submit. And great, no errors. It shows me the correct relay to use. So we're about to connect to this relay because that's the one that our wallet is communicating on, and we're going to make a subscription to kind 23196 events. Yeah, what is in my code base here? Yeah, okay, so I need to create a listener. I don't need to console log those through things anymore. So we'll create a function called listen, and that function is going to create something called a subscription ID. So this is Nostr info. Has anyone in here worked with Nostr before as a developer? We've got quite a few. So whenever you're working with Nostr, you need to make requests to a relay to send you information. And when you send out these requests, we give them an identifier. We call them subscription IDs. And so for this one, I am creating an 8-byte random value and converting it to hex, and that's what I use as my subscription ID. This helps because in Nostr, very often you are talking to multiple relays, you're sending out multiple requests to them, and when they give you information back, it's sometimes useful to know which request they're answering. So that's what we use the subscription ID for. Every request will come back with the subscription ID that you sent, identifying which question or which query it's answering. Okay, so we got that. And then we have a filter. I'm creating a filter, and I only want to get certain kinds of events. The kind is listed in the NIP. Kind 23196 is the kind I want, and only the ones that have been created after I started listening. So that's what the since command here is for. In JavaScript, this is how you say now. JavaScript doesn't have a great way of saying now, but this is what we get. And so it's saying after now, you can start sending me events that this wallet has created. So we create our subscription event down there on that line 298, and then we fire it off to the relay and say, I want these kind of events. However, this listen function has not been called yet. We need to call this function. So to do that, I have it on the next slide. To do that, well, we also need to tell the page what to do when it receives one of these events. And that is what we're going to do with handle event. Handle event will say whenever I receive an event, I'm going to get its type, its subscription ID, and the event content. And if there is no event content, or if the event content is just the word true, those are like status messages that Nostr delivers to you. We're going to ignore those by just returning to the top of the function. But otherwise, if it actually has content for us, like a notification from the wallet, we're going to log that event. Okay, so that's what I've done so far. I think this isn't going to work right away because I believe the wallet will need to talk to this app specifically and by means of direct messages. So I think I will need to get that stuff first before this will work. But I have some more code to add in. So I'm going to next call these functions by saying set up a new permanent connection. SuperNostr has two modes of access. When you're talking to Nostr relays, there's two ways to do it. You can either set up a permanent listener and say, anytime you send me messages, I want whatever it is that I've specified up here. But the other thing you can do, sometimes this happens on Nostr. If you're like browsing through Twitter or a Nostr client, sometimes you'll see someone quote a post, and the relay that you're talking to doesn't have that post, so your client will just say event not found. To handle that, we have another mode of access in Nostr where those events can specify what relay you can find that event on, and then you'll make a very quick connection to that relay, request that event, and then close the connection. So that's like a non-permanent way of talking to it, and SuperNostr supports both. But in this case, we want a permanent connection because we know what relay we're using. It's in the Nostr Wallet Connect string. So we just specify that relay, and then we pass in the listen function that we want to use to tell us when we've gotten a notification from our wallet, and something to handle those, which basically is just currently just going to log it to our console. To show you that this works, I'm going to change this briefly to just kind 1 events, and I'm going to change the relay instead of being, actually let me comment that out and paste it as kind 1. Now also comment out the relay, and if I was just going to do kind 1 events on like relay.damus.io, I could do that. And so if I refresh this and hit submit, SuperNostr is not defined. Oh, I didn't import SuperNostr into this thing. So I think that's in my Bankify wallet as well. Yeah, this is SuperNostr. I will put that in our server. You can get SuperNostr from here. So let me go up to the top of our page, and I will do script source equals this, and close that script. Oh, I already have a closing script tag. Do I? What is that? There. Thank you. Okay, so now I have SuperNostr in here, and it has 2 dependencies as well. What are its dependencies? It needs noblesec p256 and browserify cipher, but I think I already have those. There's browserify cipher, and there's noblesec p256. So it's good. I don't need anything else. All right, so let's refresh this page. And great, no errors. Now I can hit submit. Handle event is not defined. Did I never put in handle event? Yeah, I did put in handle event. Why do you say it's not defined? I see semicolons on all 3 of its lines. I'm not sure why it's saying this isn't an event. I think that's just saying that's the line that called it. Well, so that's as far as we got during this presentation, but we have 8 minutes left for questions and answers. So I will continue working to add notifications to my app, but I hope that you guys have learned how to interact with Bankify to add NWC to your Ecash projects, and a little bit about how to work with it from this partial demo. So thank you, and do I have any questions? So the question is, instead of using Lightning back and forth, can you let users use raw eCash? NWC doesn't have support for raw eCash yet, so not right now. But you can add that to the specification. I don't think the NWC or I don't think the eCash people want it though. I think they have their own specs, NIP60 and NIP61. So I don't think that we're gonna. Well, I want to see where it goes. Also, I'm part of a movement that opposes eCash. We call ourselves the eClashers because we clash with the eCash people. So, no, we're not going to add that crap to NWC. NWC is glorious, and it uses the Lightning Network. Why do we need eCash? I'm just kidding. Next question. Any other questions? No, I guess that's it. Well, thank you all for coming to my presentation, and I hope you have a great rest of your conference.